Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we are back, having a good time in the studio with Rob,
Joe
bringing me some coffee right here, filled with coffee grinds on the outside. I appreciate that, Rob. That's really good.
Yeah, no extra charge for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No
That's
charge for
coffee
the grinds.
It's
yeah.
Skull.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, he actually spit in it. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah.
You just thought Rob liked
There's some
you.
extra fiber in there.
Well, you know, I had called Diane Morellis in our office out there in the Clear Lake area, and I said, you know, Diane, we need somebody who sells out in Galveston, sells second homes and sells. And she says, I've got this guy you need to call. And it's Jace Montgomery with it's Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green. Welcome to the show, Jace.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah.
You know, so we went from Montgomery, to a new individual whose last name is Montgomery in Galveston and Brazoria.
It's ironic.
How ironic, right? The irony of the show.
Anyway, so kind of talk about how you got into real estate, how you got to Galveston, and we'll start right there.
Well, I sold new homes for 14 years in Houston, and I always wanted to be a realtor. I sold for the builders like David Weekley Homes or D.R. Horton, things like that. But I always wanted to work in Galveston and sell the vacation homes. I like living by the beach. I like fishing. And there's always something going on in Galveston. It's just a great place to live.
And can you live near the beach and fish in Galveston?
All over.
All over, right?
Mm-hmm. The fishing is just phenomenal.
Just a little, yeah. And that's what I hear. You know, a lot of times people going out fishing, you have all different types of, you can go out to deep sea fishing, you can do some more shallow fishing.
Yes, you can wade fish on the bay side of the island or on the beach, catch speckled trout, redfish, flounder, or you can get in a boat and go out for about an hour, and it's just phenomenal deep sea fishing, just not far
You
at
all have more festivals down there than anybody I know. It's like every other week there's a festival.
They love to party in Galveston. Those people, they know how to live
Just
their
an
life.
excuse to drink.
And yes, that's just one excuse
It's
to drink
Tuesday.
after another. And they just know how to live. They know how to enjoy life to the fullest and just have a good time.
It's the Mosquito Tuesday Festival.
That's right.
And, that's really neat, though. That is really neat because, as you mentioned, living on the beach has definitely its pros as well. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. Individuals who love to be outdoors, who love to go out fishing, who love to go out and doing some of those big outdoor activities, especially fishermen. It's a paradise down there.
It is, and I have a Harley that I enjoy riding, and you can ride all down along the coast, and it's just beautiful. You get real
I knew I
relaxed.
liked him, Harley guy.
Harley guy.
There it is.
Oh yeah, always.
Well, and one of the things I was going to ask you, we were talking about this during the break, is when I talk about Galveston and people ask me about Galveston, or I'll ask them, hey, where do you live, or where are you going to be buying a home? Because a lot of times I'm financing somebody who's doing something like that. And they were very specific around, I live in Jamaica Beach, or I live on XYZ, or I'm on the north side, I'm on the south side. Describe the makeup of Galveston, because I hear people very specific about where you live upon the island.
Well, they have I'll start. The East End is a lot of UTMB professors, students, and things like that, because it's walking distance.
Okay.
It's mainly made up of a lot of older historic homes that have been renovated. They are just beautiful. They have the Galveston Homes Tour and things like that each year there.
And that's known as the Historic District, correct?
There are several historic districts.
Okay.
But the East End is one of them.
Okay.
There's Silk Stocking District. There's just many historic districts. And you go from the East End toward the beach, and you have a lot of homes, very affordable. Some people have them as second homes. That actually, I know some people that live down toward the East End, and they work by the medical center.
Okay.
And they do that commute. And then you head toward the west on the island, and you come off the seawall, and it's a lot of communities that'll have a beachfront section and then a bayside section where there are canals. So you can have your boat and do whatever you want to do, enjoying either skiing or boating or fishing. And that goes on from Lafitte's Cove, Pirates Beach, Jamaica Beach, Sea Isle, Terramar, Point West, and so on. There's so many of them to try to name.
Oh,
them all.
wow.
It's always so interesting because, no matter where I'm going to Galveston to do, because sometimes I'm going down there for business, but every time I go over that causeway, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yes.
It just something about just going over that water and seeing that water just makes. I know there's some new construction going on in Galveston. There's some high rises have been built in the last couple of years. When people are looking to buy maybe a second home, what kind of housing are they looking to buy?
Well, recently I worked with some people, and it was a condominium, under $100,000, great beach view right off the seawall. And I have some people from Katy that bought a home out on the west end of the island. They'll be at their daughter's volleyball game in Katy on a Friday evening, and they'll wake up to a beautiful sunrise at their beach house the next morning. So it's good. It's all condominiums, lots, second homes, up to, there's some very large homes out there on the west end.
Yeah, West End's very nice. And
I've always really enjoyed the historical nature of Galveston. It's just such it has a lot of history, and they've really done a great job at preserving that and preserving that feel. The Galveston Homes Tour is just really cool. If you've never done it, it's something definitely worth doing. So.
And the other thing is you also have what they call your beach side and your bay side.
Mm-hmm.
And that also is, describe a little bit about that. I mean, obviously we know what the term means on both sides, but for the individuals out there, there's also a difference associated with those two. You see people who really want to be bay side, and they have an affinity to staying on the bay side, and other people who want to still really stay on the beach side. How does that sort of work out?
The bayside people will be, they want to live on the canals. They can catch fish right in their backyard. Or get in their boat and go out on the bay. The beachside people, they enjoy walking on the beach each morning, conveniently waking up. The sun rises over the Gulf, and so if you're beachside, you just have a phenomenal sunrise each morning.
Wow.
If you're bayside, it's the sunset. It's just a beautiful sunset. And so it just depends on what your taste is, what you prefer.
I just thought it was funny that everyone's referred to as we had Catherine was talking about the lake people, and now we've got beach people and bay people.
We got all of our peeps around.
You got all our people, man.
He did mention history a second ago, and I love history, and I have been researching history for 10 years on the island, and there's still a long way to go. There's so much history. For anyone that does like history, there's just...
Well, and I would agree with you, because Galveston, if you look at some of the greatest tragedies we've had, and then some of the greatest successes we've had, exactly. Galveston has been a part of U.S., not just Houston history, but U.S. history over a period of time. Mm-hmm. And so it's really neat, as you mentioned, is when it comes to that, to go down there and to see Galveston and where it stands today from where it stood even a few years back with the big storm that hit. And the redevelopment that's happened now, and look at the big fire that took place, obviously in 1946 or something like that, or whenever it was. There's a whole bunch of different aspects of Galveston from a historical perspective that is really neat.
Jean Lafitte, the pirate, he had a fort out on the west end of the island and kept his ships hidden in Lafitte's Cove, and he had a house in town, which the slab is still there on Harborside Drive. He lived in town and had a fort out on the west end until the United States government, ran him off the island.
Really?
But the slab is still actually there with a historical marker for Jean Lafitte's home.
I had many years ago read a book called Joseph's Storm, and it was about the hurricane of 1900, and just a lot of the hurricane technology that developed after that was really inspired by a lot of what happened there. Really neat stuff. Galveston definitely has a long and interesting history.
It was a financial center for the southeast area of Texas, and he had operating casinos. I mean, it was a big place for people to come down. And after that is when it shifted to Houston.
Yeah, right. It was the largest banking center in the south of the United States. Galveston was before the 1900 storm.
Wow. That's just amazing to see all the stuff that goes on right there. And talk a little bit about housing. What are you seeing housing out there? I mean, what is we talk about people buying for lifestyles, and we talk about some of the great lifestyle things that you're seeing out there. But what is a typical buyer looking for in a house out in the Galveston area?
What I find is mainly it can be anything, but it's a lot of second homes. And I've had people from Katy, from the Woodlands. Recently sold some from Aurora, Colorado, and they just want a place out there on the west end where it's quiet and they can enjoy life with their family.
Well, and it's always a lot of fun to go out there, as you mentioned. One of the things I think is really neat. You come from the traditional home that you see in the Katy area, Memorial area, and we're going to talk about this in a minute with Seaside. But then you go out to the Galveston area, and you truly see it's a different way. The homes are built different. Mm-hmm. It's they're a little bit more elevated, obviously. But you also see that openness because they're trying to take advantage of the breeze that comes through, the smell, the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. You also see, I have a friend of mine who loves to go fishing, and so he has this complete thing set up to be able to bring the fish home, cut them open, fillet them, et cetera, grill them right there. Mm-hmm. So it's really neat, and you do see a different design than the traditional home.
They all, when they design them, they'll sit down with an architect and they'll design them pretty much to their own taste and their own function. So if you drive along FM 3005 toward the West End and just look at all the homes, everyone is different.
Right.
And it's just what people build to their taste.
Do you find still, are there folks that purchase the many properties, or have you dealt with many people purchasing property for the investment side of it, for rental property?
Yes, we have a great rental program, and I would say more than half of the people that do purchase there put them in a rental program, and what their goal is they're just trying to break even on the home each year and get a home they can use down by the beach almost for free.
Right.
So there are well over half the homes out there are on some sort of a rental program.
Wow.
Because it's a thriving business out there.
Oh, wow. Well, I can imagine.
We did have some issues with the National Flood Insurance Program and wind and storm. Are we still having some issues with that?
It was just signed into effect, a 3-year delay on this, I guess would be the right word.
Yeah.
So we have 3 years that they're going to try to come to a decent solution that's fair to everyone.
What happened was the government subsidized the National Flood Insurance Program.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, everyone's going to be exposed to the full price of trying to refund the program, and also it was going to price people out of the market.
Oh, I would agree.
And so we, actually, part of what the realtors have done is kind of step forward and said, we have to fix this. We have a very strong lobby that worked on that specific issue.
Well, Jace, we are coming up against time. How can we reach you if we're looking at buying a home out there in the Galveston area?
The best way is to call my cell phone. It's always with me. It's 409-789-7021. And I do have www.jacemontgomery.com under construction right now, and it'll be rolled out within a month. But for now, webpage is www.har.com/Jace Montgomery.
And that's 409-789-7021. Give him about 30 minutes, by the way. He's still on the air for the next 30 minutes. Then you can call him all you want this afternoon. Anyways, we're coming up against a break right now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.